A Congressional Foreign Relations subcommittee was adjourned abruptly after the chairman refused to properly address Delaware Congresswoman Sarah McBride. Take a look.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply...
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman? Would you repeat what you just said when you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I mean, I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this
You
hearing.
will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
That's right.
Good for him.
So the people of Delaware voted for Congresswoman McBride. So why is it so difficult for people to understand that she was elected by her constituents? They know Sarah McBride. So I say, if you're so concerned about protecting who you consider women, why don't you spend less time monitoring bathrooms and address the material mortality crisis in this country when it comes to when it comes to black women? Why don't you end the 15% gender gap? Make sure women have access to health care and contraception. Investigate cases of missing or murdered indigenous women. If you care that much that you got to do all that, if you care about women, why don't we feel it? I don't understand.
But this is the new scapegoat, is transgender people, it seems. And they always have to have somebody to blame and to focus on so that you don't watch them steal your money in Social Security and Medicaid, in your taxes, while they give big tax breaks to billionaires. It's a way of distracting American people from the real issues.
Well, and by the way, this was a
about.
hearing on arms control and international security and U.S. assistance to Europe, actual issues that matter. And I'm sorry, I come from the more libertarian side of the Republican Party. Live and let live. She ran as Sarah McBride. She was elected by the voters as Sarah McBride. And listen, I think people of good faith can have different opinions on policy around trans issues. I do not think there is any way that you can treat somebody without dignity and respect in how they want to be viewed.
It comes from the top.
Yeah, but aside from being completely disgraceful and embarrassing to watch, the way that grown man who is in our Congress is treating a fellow congressperson, disgusting. But this is what I say about putting your party over the people, because this is, Representative McBride came here. We all loved her. She's a common sense person. That's how she got voted in. And she votes for bringing down the cost of living, raising the federal minimum wage to $15, cutting unnecessary red tape with federal government spending. We've heard that's kind of a big issue to them. This is someone they could work across the aisle, but they'd rather dismiss what we pay them to do, have these hearings and meetings, because he couldn't spit out the decent title of a fellow congressperson. Disgusting.
By the way, that whole idea of have you no decency, that's a throwback to the House Un-American Activities Committee back when they were hunting people and saying they were communists. It was McCarthyism.
You know, what I will say, the one silver lining that I saw was that I saw a true allyship in that moment. I saw someone say, you don't get to disrespect and demean my colleague. And we need to see more of that, I think, in this country, because we don't see enough of it. The other thing that I will say is Laverne Cox, the famous and wonderful Laverne Cox, openly trans woman, said it perfectly on our show. They are focused on the wrong 1%. The transgender community is 1% of the world. We need to start talking about the 1% of billionaires that are privatizing our country, privatizing our government, and stealing our money from us. That's That's what we need to talk about.
But historically, they always go after the smallest percentage because they can't fight back.
Fruit.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
low-hanging
And by
fruit.
the
why we
way,
need
when,
that
when
allyship.
Sarah McBride was here, she distinctly said, I am not running to focus on trans issues. I'm running to focus on what my voters elected me, on cost of living. And I feel like a few members, because they want to dunk and they want to get clicks, keep trying to goad her into fights she's not even trying to have. She's
Her
showing up and
response
doing
was
her
so
job.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And,
Madam
you know,
Chairperson.
And, you know, it's just, it is, you know, look, when we come back, there's more to talk about, but I'm just going to say this before we go. We are, in this nation, watching what people will do to each other if we don't reteach people how to act.
Yeah.
This will become the norm again.
Yes.
We fought for years to get respect for women, respect for gay folks, respect for trans folks, Asian folks, Spanish folks, white women, black women, people. We must be very vigilant on this because if we're not, this is going to start up again.